room. I'll try to go to my
What's
audience.
up, y'all? John Melton coming to you live with another episode of Money Monday. And I'm excited because I've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ray Higdon. I want to make sure we are live. I'm not seeing it on my Facebook, but it says we're live. Okay, there we go. There we are. What's up, y'all? Smash that heart button if you can see us, if you can hear us. If you're a replay viewer, drop the time you're watching the replay because I'm curious. As you know, we typically do Money Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, but today, 3 p.m. Why? Because number one, it's my show. I can do what I want. But number two, Mr. Ray Higdon just drove literally from New Orleans to Miami to Naples through a hurricane/tropical storm because he wanted to be on today. 14 hours, and here he is. So first of all, we're glad he's safe. Second of all, this is how committed he is to helping all of you work on your limiting beliefs and your money mindset. We're going to talk about faith, confidence, business, money, all the things. And for those of you that don't know Ray, maybe you're living under a rock, but he was in network marketing, became the number one income earner in his company. And he's one of those guys that just like has the sickest work ethic, but also a brilliant marketer, right? So you combine the two, obviously that's why he had massive success. But we joined his mastermind back in 2015 because we wanted to level up in our businesses way back when we were first doing videos and we were trying to learn the whole like attraction marketing and branding ourselves conversation. Had no idea what we were doing really. We were just putting out all this content. We wanted to monetize. We wanted to build community. We wanted to build our brand. We wanted to do all these things. And Ray was the guy because not only was he really good with the branding and the marketing, but he was also a top earner in network marketing. Now, since then, he's retired. He's become a full-time coach, a mentor, a trainer, a speaker, also a father, a husband, and he's written how many books now, Ray?
I think number 5 came out last month, but I got number 6. John Maxwell's already written the forward to number 6.
So only 5 or 6 books. And it's not like he's like in his 80s. The dude is like, what, 45, 46?
Very close, 47.
47. So he's still in his 40s. He's already accomplished so much. And I'm sure most of you know Ray. If you know Ray and you love him, let him know in the comments. But excited to have him on the show. In fact, he actually did a training for my team just like 3 weeks ago. And it was so powerful. You know, it was actually interesting. There were some people that actually had not heard of you and saw you train for the first time because they were brand new to network marketing, right? And they were just so blown away. And I was like, dude, we got to get you on the show. We got to do an interview. We're streaming in like 7 different places right now. And we'll turn this into a podcast. And I know you have a big event coming up real soon. So all the things are happening. Really excited and glad you guys made it home safely to do this interview. So Ray, what's up, man? Happy to have you on.
I'm excited to be here. And just want to say, you learned attraction marketing.
Yeah.
You're doing it. Okay.
Yeah, we got the hang of it. But you know what? Still learning, still a student, still love learning from you. So thanks for everything you do for the profession.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Your big event is real soon, right? Next month.
So we're 90 days away, roughly 90 days away. So our Faith Over Fear event. So we've ran an annual business event for this will be year 11. And last year we changed the name of it to Faith Over Fear. And so faithoverfearlive.com, or I'm sorry, Faith Over Fear Live is the event name. And that's where we combine the world's greatest strategies of what's working right now, as well as how to prioritize God in your life and how to have faith, a part of your business. And I found God 19 months ago, and for me, he's it's not, my faith isn't something over there. It's something in every single aspect of my life now. And so we show people how to do that. What does that look like?
I love it. And can you also, because I know we're going to talk about money, but can you talk about how important it is to have the right mindset, to have faith? Because right now it's kind of a tough time. I think I saw just this morning the stock market crashed. I mean, this is a time you're really tested. Your faith is tested during such turbulent times. So can you maybe talk about that, and then we'll get into the money conversation? I'm excited.
Yeah, there's with more money, you can do more good, period. You can invest in yourself, you can help others, you have options. But there's, a lot of people that have money wounds, and either they saw they got raised in a culture that having lots of money was evil or greedy or bad or terrible, or, those corporate fat cats or whatever, or they think that God wants them to be in poverty or wants them to be poor, and there's no biblical truth to that. And so I think it's very important to understand that, the Bible tells us that God delights in the prosperity of his servant, and that having money is okay. Just don't let money have you. So for most of my life, and I would say most entrepreneurs, money is their source of identity, safety, security, significance, status, etc. And money is meant to be a resource, and you can have lots of it. God's meant to be our source, and so that's a very different way to look at it than most people look at it.
So when people are struggling with money, how do they get over that stinking thinking, those limiting beliefs, thinking that maybe they're being greedy or maybe they're holding themselves back, right? They're trying to save money. They're trying to be careful. What I know we go in a million directions with that, but I can't wait for your thoughts and insights.
It's really interesting. And I'll read something to you here real quick. So since I came to Christ, like I've been all in, right? I think most people kind of know that about me. I'm an all in, relentless kind of guy. And there's very interesting scripture that says, listen to this. He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also supply and increase your store of seed and will enlarge the harvest of your righteousness. You will be enriched in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion, and through us, your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. One of the weird, confusing pieces about what the Bible talks about and money, one of them, there's two major ones, is that a lot of people I talk to that are struggling financially, they have absolutely no plan to give any. Right? They got to hold on to it, right? They got to hold on to it. But we're told that when we are generous, God blesses us abundantly, so that in all times, having all that we need, we abound in every good work. And so, as strange as it is, I've had clients that are students that I talk to and they're really struggling financially. And my advice to them, first of all, is to go sow some seed. Go actually put some money in it toward a charity or church or whatever kind of good cause. And magically, something loosens up in their life. Magically, something shows up, because that's a biblical principle. And the other thing that's kind of the second piece of this is there's scripture that says, when ye pray, pray as if you've already received. Now that's a common New Age law of attraction, right? See it, you got to see it to believe it, right? See it before it happens, right? But it comes from that written 2,000 years ago. So when ye pray, pray as if you've already received. But the second part of that verse says, and when you are praying, forgive anyone of anything so that your heavenly Father can forgive you. People ask me, they're like, well, what was the switch for you? Because I lost it all in real estate. I was $1 million in debt, foreclosure, dead broke, divorced, depressed. I mean, it was a tough time. I remember selling furniture, trying to pay bills, and it was a tough time. And people ask, well, what was the switch? Because within 7 months, I was at $40,000 a month. What was the switch? Forgiving my dad.
Wow.
I had no idea. I didn't have biblical principles. I didn't know forgiving my dad. I hadn't seen him in 13 years. He'd never met my grandson. I had no idea that forgiveness had anything to do with what I wanted in life. I got nudged to do it, and I did it. And all of a sudden, very quickly, money started coming in more powerfully. And I'd been trying before. I'd been working hard before, but I was more focused. I was more diligent. I was more consistent. And all of a sudden, money just expanded. So a lot of times, the two things I'll find that I think are the most common amongst people who really struggle financially, they have unforgiveness in their heart, and they don't have any plan to sow. They don't have any plan to be generous. They don't have any plan to be charitable, because they're so focused on their problem. And when you make those plans and you start forgiving people, your life changes. It absolutely changes, and that's biblical truth.
And what else would you say for people that, maybe they've been in the profession a while, they're in direct sales, they're in the same company, they've been kind of grinding, they're struggling with, the mindset and the consistency, and they know this. They're like, I got to be more consistent. I got to be more faithful, but they're just not doing, maybe they're not forgiving that person that, they know they need to, what do you tell that person that's like, they're just stuck with the justification or that same, stinking thinking?
Yeah. I mean, specifically when it comes to forgiveness, right? and I don't make light of it. I mean, I was, beaten as a kid, right? Like I was thrown against a closet and stomped almost every single morning up until like 12, right? I mean, I had some, tough times, physical abuse, mental abuse, etc. I now disciple the person that abused me. I know I'm walking them through the Bible. I'm actually, discipling them and helping them. And, brought my dad to Christ, brought my mom to Christ. And so what you need to understand, and this is very difficult because I know that there's justification, like you said, there's justification in holding a grudge. There's justification in being bitter. You didn't deserve it. They're probably not even sorry. Heck, they may not even remember. But we are told to forgive anyone of anything. That's what we're told. That's our instructions, and there's no asterisk there. So what you say, this will be tough for some people, what you say when you're not willing to forgive is you say to God, this offense is greater than how much I care about you or I want to listen to you. Mm-hmm. And so if we're to have the most loving, fulfilling, meaningful life, that is through obedience. And I found that over and over and over is obedience. It's actually the first chapter of my book that was released in June, Faith Driven Network Marketer. And so obedience, and that is, hey, if I'm being told the Word of God tells me to forgive anyone of anything, then if I don't, then I'm saying how I feel is greater than God's plan for me. And so what happens then? You live a life that isn't your potential, that isn't fulfilling, that isn't purposeful, that isn't meaningful. You live a life of bitterness. You live a life of less than. You live a life of lack. And so you have the keys to the kingdom are much simpler than you think. Right. And, the Deuteronomy 8:18 says, remember the Lord your God who gives you the power to get wealth. That's very straightforward. That's the solving of problems, right? You do have to solve problems. You combine, I'm going to solve problems with, I have a plan to be generous, like a real plan, not just words that you tell people and you never actually do. Right. And I forgive anyone who's wronged me, which you have been wronged. Everyone has. You do those three things, your income, your money that you have is going to increase. Those are all biblical principles. That's how it works.
And it's amazing how when you drop the baggage, right, you forgive, you don't have to forget, but forgive, right? Yeah. You just release it. You're like, I'm just blessing the release. I'm just going to move on from that, whatever that situation was, because it really, you don't realize it, but it's like somewhere stuck. It's like a physical thing for many people. And I think it's powerful. And I guess my next question would be, okay, so let's say somebody does that and then they have the plan, like a real plan. What then? What would you say? Okay, now let's next level money making.
Yeah. So tactically, if every person 100% of the time, if they aren't consistent, because you do have to be consistent, right? People want to be successful without being consistent. I don't know.
But sometimes they consistently do what's not working also.
True.
Right.
True.
They're just consistently doing the same thing. And it's like, yeah, but it's not working. Anyways, but yeah, consistently.
True. I mean, if you're not doing, if you're doing everything but income producing activities, if you're doing everything but actually talk to humans and see how you can solve their problems, then you can be consistent at, taking baths and not make money. Right. But what I found is anyone I've ever coached ever at any level that struggles with consistency, it's because of an observation they made as a kid. And it's a false observation they made. It's a conclusion that they drew. And so, I remember coaching, I have so many of these stories, but if one of the common ones is if your parents made a bunch of money and lost it, it's very likely that as a kid, you witnessed that and said, well, if I make a bunch of money, I'm just going to lose it. So I better not make a bunch of money, right? It's kind of like if your dad fell off a mountain, you might avoid mountain climbing. And that's what people do is they have this unconscious, they can never say it consciously. But one of the first questions I'll ask if someone struggles with being consistent in business, I'll say, how were your parents in money? And a lot of times the truth will come out. And so the person that saw their parents make a bunch of money and lose it, they got triggered from shame. All of a sudden, they went from the, popular family in town to maybe made fun of, or they were in the paper, or, depending on how dramatic it was. And so every single person I've ever coached that struggles with the limelight And we have, we know these, people that they did, just don't, don't highlight me. I'd rather you not, right? Every single one had siblings, every one of them. And what happens is, and most of the times they were the good sibling. And what happened is they watched their parents say, why can't you be more like your sister?
Ugh.
And so they drew the conclusion that when I get highlighted, when I get the limelight, when I get attention or exposure, someone else gets hurt. And unless you're a psychopath, right, that doesn't feel good. And so unfortunately, that program gets set and it stays with you the rest of your life. So you fly under the radar, you don't reach your potential, or some people will peak up and they'll hit a rank and they'll get a bunch of exposure and then they'll dip out. They'll quit. And you're like, what? They just hit that big rank. What the hell happened, right? Because they don't want other people to feel bad. And that's the conclusion that that they made as a kid that is still running their world. They're actually not even the pilot or the co-pilot. They're the passenger. Yeah. The programs are the one flying them around, driving them around. Right. And so you can pinpoint these things by patterns. And I remember someone, I think she may actually be on your team, but I remember coaching someone and she had been stuck for like 4 or 5 years at 4,000 in volume. Right. She would dip a little bit, go up, never get past it. Could never get past. That's a upper limit of hers, right? Or was an upper limit of hers. And so I'm like, okay, tell me about your parents and money. Like, what was that like? And she goes, well, my mom was a prostitute. And I'm like, okay. And at that point I had a feeling, but I had to ask more questions. I said, okay, do other people know that? And she goes, oh yeah, everyone knows it. All the local people, my friends know it. And she's still alive. So she threw in that piece. Okay. And so I said, I know what your problem is. Now, I didn't hear her business strategy. I didn't hear her scripts. I didn't know her posting schedule. I didn't know anything, right? What's her onboarding? What's her fast start? What's her video? I didn't know any of that stuff, but I knew what her problem was. And she's like, okay, what's my problem? I said, well, you've drawn the conclusion that if you go and reach your potential, okay, and you start crushing it, then the people around you to bring you down are going to bring up the history with your mom, and you would do anything to avoid her being embarrassed. And so that's why you're sabotaging it. But there's another way to look at it. And that is your mom did a lot of things she didn't want to do for you to have a better life. And it's kind of a slap in the face that that's the reason you're not. And so this was like a 10-minute coaching call. And, that's one of those that I thought afterwards, I'm like, I may have gone too hard, too fast on that one. And so I texted her the next day. I said, hey, you okay? You doing okay? And she said, I talked to my mom last night and it's on. In 90 days, she was at 90,000 volume. Since then, she's been crushing it ever since. She's written a couple of different books. And it's just, sometimes it's not, oh, I need a new script or I need this. It's something in your subconscious that needs to be weeded out. That needs to be, if you're not aware of this problem, you're going to keep sabotaging. You're going to keep, doing your thing and it not working.
How can they get that? How can they find that? How can they figure that out? What would be some of the solutions?
Difficult to find on your own. It really is. There are some great books out there. There's 2 that come to mind. One of them, I think I have it around here. One of them is, it's not mine, surprisingly, right? But one of them, my friend Jenny Potter wrote, Self-Sabotage No More. That's a good one. Another one is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, another great book. It's the reason it's difficult to do on your own is because your psyche has, it's not designed, this program isn't designed to defeat you or to keep you down or to make you a loser or make you poor. It's designed to protect you. It's a security mechanism. So when you try to monkey with your own brain and try to find out, okay, what am I trying to keep? It freaks out. Right. So it's actually hard for someone. You can recognize it by patterns. And the other way to look at this biblically is that I just believe that God allows situations and loves us so much that the lesson's repeated until it's learned. And so, if you have a repeating situation in your life, whether it's career, relationship, neighbor, whatever, right? How people treat you. If there's a repeating thing, God is allowing that because he loves you so much. He doesn't want you to remain the same. He wants you to actually get the lesson. Once you get the lesson, new lessons, right? That's what I've experienced.
Well, it reminds me of, I don't remember where I first heard it, but they're like, you pray for patience. So you're like, patience, but you're going to get opportunities to be patient.
That is right.
Give you patience. It's going to be an opportunity. right? So it's like the
That's
lesson,
right.
right? It is that experience, and sometimes you have to keep going through the same experience over and over again before you're like, maybe I need help. Maybe
Yeah.
I should hire a coach. Maybe I need to go to this
Yes.
faith over fear event. I mean, hello. In fact, how many of you would love the details? How many of you would love to attend this event? I mean, how many did you have there last year? It was huge. It was like one of the biggest events I've been to in years since COVID.
Yeah, so we had 1,000 there last year. This year we expect around 3,000.
Woo!
So we're a lot of people are they like that the atmosphere that we create. We create a very unique atmosphere, helping bring more hope to others, more glory to God, and really equipping you with things that work and also are backed up biblically, right? Like one of the speakers, we had him last year too, Pastor Baker. He did an 18-part series to his congregation, and over 25% of his congregation became debt-free.
Wow.
I don't know another pastor that can say that, right? There's a lot of good pastors out there. I've never heard that. And so like he is such a master at teaching biblical wealth in whatever business that you're in. And so he's one of our, many speakers. And so, people get to, come in, because what I've learned over all my years of being just, hardcore self-development, personal development, invested more in myself than most people I know. I mean, I think it was 9 years straight. I did at least $100,000 a year invested in myself through coaching, masterminds, et cetera. And what I found is that that's really hard. and it's hard. And when you co-labor with the creator of the heavens and the earth, and you really yoke up with the Heavenly Father, like things happen very differently. And they all of a sudden I had more meaning, purpose, fulfillment, and just things were just very different. And, made me a better father, made me a better husband, maybe a better friend. And those are, just different things that I some of those I'd struggled with over the years. And so, we're really excited to provide that at Faith Over Fear.
And I love the bigger vision, bigger purpose, bigger impact.
Yes.
So many people, that's the problem. So you always just, you're always so caught up in your own stuff. Like you said, like you got this, like, I don't have money to donate. Like I got to pay my own bills. I'm behind my own shit.
Right.
Like,
Sure.
Yeah, but that's probably all the more reason you just need to think bigger, really. You got to believe bigger. And that faith piece is hard in this current economy, this climate, whatever. There's a lot of negativity, all the political crap that's going on. But again, this is when you're being tested. This is an opportunity, and it's just a matter of taking advantage of it. So you could say, oh my gosh, like this is my time to back off. This is my time to slow down or double down. You could say, hey, I've been saying it quite a bit. I don't remember where I first heard it years ago, but separation season, right? It's like we had this economy, and then we had the COVID thing, and at first it was scary, and then it was, I mean, obviously there were some very bad things that happened with COVID, but the network marketing profession exploded, right? A lot of companies had massive growth, and quite honestly, most of us were probably making more money than we deserved. We didn't know what was happening, and we knew it wouldn't last, or at least those of us who've been around a while. Like you can't just post a video that has no value and get 500 leads. That will not last. It is literally impossible. And I think now you're seeing people that are separating themselves, and they are standing out. They do have a lot of clarity on who they're serving, how they're helping. They're making money hand over fist because they know how to tell their story. They know how to help other people. So the sooner you can step into that and get over your own stuff, the sooner you'll be a person of value. And that was something I learned from you and Jessica years ago. It's like, I need to show up with more value in the marketplace, on the front end, but also on the back end, those one-on-one interactions and connections, and all of that made the biggest difference. But the one thing that we had that a lot of people these days don't have is we already had that mindset. And so did you, of like, investing in myself. I'm not missing events. Like events, as much as I love social media and building online, right? My kids, so not only are my kids, they're 19 and 15, they're not as loud, but I've got my Nadia's sister's kids are here, and they are much younger, much louder, and we have not one, but 3 dogs in this house right now. And then on top of that, you have kids in the background, right? Like that's what we love about this business is the freedom to work from home, be dads, have all the things. But there are times where you're like, I need to get into an environment in a room with a bunch of people sitting there working on me, connecting, just like submerging yourself in that environment. So anyway, what are the details of the event? By the way, those of you that want to register, you want to get in, get your ticket ASAP, drop the word faith in the comments, and we'll get back to you with the link. But I would love for you to share a little bit more about the event, like details, where it's going to be, all the things, because I want people to get registered ASAP. And I think it's like still early bird pricing, right?
Yeah, we still have ridiculous pricing. We have basically what we do is we have one just silly affordable ticket, and then we have the Mac Daddy one where you get to have dinner with the speakers, you get to be pulled backstage and get picture opportunities. So we have like Mac Daddy price, and then we have like, hey, this is anyone can do this. But it's October 31st to November 3rd, and yeah, there's really 6 pillars that we break down, and I'll point something out after I go through them. So and this is not necessarily in order, but pillar 1 is sales, pillar 2 is marketing, pillar 3 is work-life balance. Because what we found is if you start crushing it in sales and marketing, but your work-life balance sucks, you're going to sabotage it. It's going to fall apart. You're going to start to hate it. You're going to start to resent it. You're not going to be consistent. Pillar number 4, mindset. Pillar number 5 is leadership. For you to make a significant amount of money, you need better leadership. And pillar number 6 is wealth, because every person on here has at minimum 2 businesses. You have how you make money and what you do with your money. That is a business in and of itself. What are you actually doing with your money? So we have some absolute experts. And what you'll notice, those 6 pillars, sales, marketing, work-life balance, mindset, leadership, and wealth, well, where's faith in all of them? And so we show, like, where does faith come into every single category? How do you put God first in every single category and perform with excellence? And that's what we show you to do. When it comes to, mindset, you're going to hear about, death and life is in the power of the tongue. That's Proverbs 18:21. And what does that look like? How can you get better at the words that you speak to yourself, most importantly, to teams, to prospects, and others? And so we bring faith into every single category to help you become that really complete faith-filled network marketer. And that's what we want for you, because that's what we found is just so awesome. And it's what the world is looking for. And when the world is in turmoil, the world, one, is hungry for more faith, first of all. And number 2, hungry for what you do as a network marketer, right? They want the low risk, low overhead way for the average ordinary person to start a business, and you have the way. Right? A lot of times network marketers they miss this point, and they think that, all the prospects are the prizes. They're not the prizes. You're the prize. Because most people out there have problems, but no solutions, right? You have a solution. You have a way to actually help them. Right. You have a way to give them a platform to run on, to give them a way. They don't have a way in their company to get a raise. They don't have a way in their company to make more money without stealing more time away from their family. You have that way, so you're actually the prize, and you get to bless people that are hungry and looking for it. And so we want to equip you at the best in the best way possible to be able to do that.
I love it. Yeah, we always say you have a miracle in your mouth. So many people are so afraid. They're so scared of rejection. They're so afraid of, like, what are my friends going to think? What's my family going to think? It's like, do you pay your bills? No, then you can't. Shush. You can't get caught up in that nonsense. But it's so easy for you and me to say that. The reason that we're where we are today, because we went to those events, sitting in the back, taking notes all by ourselves, going, I hope this is legal. I hope this is legitimate. I hope I can be successful, not knowing, but knowing that we didn't want to keep doing what we were doing that wasn't working. And it's funny because you made a lot of money in real estate, so did I, but there just wasn't the personal development. There wasn't the camaraderie and the community. There's something so beautiful about network marketing, but there's also a lot of people that unfortunately do it all wrong. And that's why I've been not only following you for years, but, we become friends with so many of the leaders inside your community and, rank makers. And we just love what you guys have done and the way you've elevated the profession. And that's why you get so many leaders speaking at these events from so many different companies, so many different success stories. And then they promote it to their teams too. So guys, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, last day of October through the first weekend of November. Get your tickets. And I think it's in Orlando.
It is in Orlando. And I'll just point out, this is such a critical time because, as I think everyone knows, it's election year, right? So this is literally, you're being equipped, you're being weaponized to go and make the very best of your life in the rest of the year right before election. Okay. and you're going to be, those I feel concerned for those that don't come, because if you whatever goes on, man, who the heck knows, right? But I suspect you're going to have a very strong mindset and willpower, throughout election season, and we want to help you with that, because we can stand out. There's Matthew 5:14 says, "You are the light of the world, the city on the hill that cannot be hidden." And people are going to be looking for light. They're going to be looking for empowered entrepreneurs that can help them. They're going to be looking for solutions, and you can help them do that. And we want to show you exactly how to do that.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, talking about attraction marketing, right? It's like a light during dark times. If you're a leader, if you're someone that, God forbid, you're showing up in a positive way on social media, and you're not letting who's in the Oval Office. Now, we all got our political views, believe me. But at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of things who's in the Oval Office if you don't have the stuff figured out in your own house, right? Like, let's get focused on our own house, our own stuff, because you can only control so much. And I think ultimately a lot of people right now, it's easy to be positive when the economy's crushing, everybody's ranking up and banking up, and everybody's killing it. Like, this is when you get tested. This is when faith is most important, which is why I think this event is so important, which is why I wanted you on the show today. So I appreciate you making it happen, Ray Higdon, as always. And by the way, you can see right there, my lifestyle, of course, as soon as I pointed out, but right there, mylifestyleacademy.com/faith. You can go to that link, get more details about the event. We're promoting the heck out of this. And there's not a lot of in-person events at this point. The ones that are happening, which are few and far between, they're typically like thousands of dollars. They're smaller events. Like, Ray is one of the only ones that is still putting on these really big events. So I would get there, get your teams there, get registered, and definitely do your best to not just, attend the event, but get the most out of it and be, a person that's contributing and taking notes and taking pictures and really getting the most out of an event. Like, that's why I love events. It's not just the information, it's the inspiration, it's the connection, all the things. So anyway, Ray, I appreciate you doing this. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.